right, guys, and welcome back to the Gulf Coast Grow Show. I'm excited today because we have got a special guest, Mr. Wesley Hunt from Congressional District 38 here in the great state of Texas. Wesley, good morning.
Good morning. How are you doing, sir? Happy to be on, man.
Man, we are happy to have you. Thank you for pivoting. I know you had to make some minor adjustments with us this morning, but as the champion that you are, you dove right in. So you're in daddy daycare mode, and also
yeah, you hear that?
You're helping and support. Oh yeah, absolutely. And it's awesome because I think it just speaks as you can see that beautiful picture behind you. I've had the chance to actually see and meet your beautiful family, and it's just, again, a testament to the type of person that we want to see represent our great state. So again, thank you for that.
Thank you.
I'm laughing because as we get things kicked off, your babies are back there making that noise, and my dog's slapping around my babies slapping around on the floor in here. I'm thinking, okay, they're supposed to be in the other room with my wife. So we're off to a great start.
I know you are.
Hey, so really for our audience, if you're paying attention though, and our audience, as we always tell you, our show is here to champion really the port region, the great state of Texas. Oil and energy has always been a flagstone and a cornerstone for our region and everything that we do. And we're seeing it more now than ever, the critical nature of not only infrastructure in our state to get things in and out of our state, but also to get them out of our port and across the globe. Because what we're dealing with here in the U.S. is not just single in the U.S. It is actually a nationwide or a global issue when it comes to energy. And it's something that we have got to continue to help spread the good word that energy is needed, and it's going to be needed. And we're going to need oil and gas. We're going to need refineries. We're going to need the things that are happening. We're going to need infrastructure and the port to continue to thrive. And what does that mean for Texas? Our role is to help spread the word that says, let's continue to see people moving to this state and building up residency here because of the great opportunities it provides. And so the reason we had you on the show is because I know this is critical to you. It's a big part of your platform, something that you've been champion. So that being said, for our audience that maybe hasn't met you or hasn't seen you on the news or hasn't, which I don't know how that's possible, just in case, let's talk a little bit about your background, who you are, and a little bit of the reason why you decided to run for Congress.
Okay, excellent. Well, thank you for having me on again. And a little bit about me, born and raised here in Houston, right? I'm a Houston guy. It's kind of funny. We're kind of a lost breed these days. It's kind of hard to actually run the people that are born and raised in Houston, because we got a lot of people moving here because they want to benefit from the really good city that Houston has actually become. I'm really proud to be born and raised here. I come from a military family. So my dad is a retired lieutenant colonel. My sister went to West Point, my family first. She's also a retired lieutenant colonel. Wow. I went to West Point, my family second. So did West Point, 8 years active duty, an Apache helicopter pilot. Deployed to Iraq, did 2 deployments in Saudi Arabia as well. Then did Cornell for grad school, earned 3 master's degrees in 4 years at Cornell. Did a master's in business, public administration, and industrial and labor relations. Then moved back home to Houston because I realized that I'm never not living here again. Well, too much New York for me, man.
Yeah.
And my brother is also a West Point graduate. He's a year behind me from West Point, and then he did 5 years in the Navy. So there's about 60 years worth of military service just in my immediate family. Wow. And I always lead with that story because that kind of explains kind of my family ethos and kind of what we stand for, what we believe in, and that is you always find ways to serve your country, no matter what. It was a requirement in my house. This is the greatest country in the world, and we need brave people to defend our democracy every single generation. And if we don't do it, then nobody else will. And so when this opportunity came up to run for Congress to continue to find ways to serve, I really jumped at it. It's an honor to be able to do it. I'm really excited to be the future congressman for this district. I went to high school, actually at a school called St. John's, but I grew up in the Spring Klein area. And I literally drove 1 hour every single day, one way to go to school. And little did I know that would eventually be the district that I will be running for in 20 years later. It's literally the exact same route. So we were really excited about that. Very, very blessed. And again, just really excited about the opportunity that we're going to have to defend the oil and gas industry, given the fact that our district is just about entirely reliant on the oil and gas industry in some capacity, and every job every industry is in some way tangentially related to the oil and gas industry.
I think it's a great point and something that we always bring up, and people kind of forget this, but every one of these jobs, every one of these critical jobs, we talk about it behind the gates here in the refinery area, but even over across the energy corridor, when you start hitting this kind of, because there's six-figure jobs oftentimes, right? And so, but for every one of those jobs, there's about 7 service jobs created in the local community, the local populace to help serve those people. And so restaurant jobs, car wash job, everything that we have from an infrastructure of job and opportunity is created by those big organizations that are producing jobs that we need here, whether it be in the energy corridor or in our neck of the woods down here in the port region. So again, great to see you doing that. Great to see you champion that. So we're here to talk a little bit about petrochem today. As you know, our organization represents the kind of the port region. And it's one big giant energy city, Houston is. And so talking about that, we produce almost 25% of the nation's gas and diesel as far as the chemical complexes down here. What priorities do you have specifically for U.S. energy and petrochem manufacturing here in the Houston metro area?
Well, we need to get our priorities straight. We need to get our energy policy straight, and we need to keep America's priorities first. We're sitting here on the Permian Basin. We have the Marcellus Shale. We have the Eagle Ford Shale. We have so many natural resources right here in our own country, and quite frankly, we should be net exporters. We should be energy independent because we've been blessed with these resources, and we shouldn't be destroying our own industry. So my top priority at this point is how do we roll back how do we roll back a lot of these restrictions? How do we make sure that we allow our production to be, the cleanest, the safest, which is what we're already doing, also reducing our carbon footprint, which is what we're already doing. How do we invest in more carbon sequestration projects, which is things that we're already doing, and most importantly, what's happening at our port and the incoming and outgoing of our petrochemicals that can not just fuel the U.S. but can really fuel the entire world and our allies. We have got to get back to those kinds of policies. Fantastic.
And you mentioned the entire world, and that's a big critical component. And a big part of that entire world is infrastructure. We've seen it in the last 2 years. It's been a really massive nightmare, and it started with the pandemic. Then it's happened now. It's almost like a double whammy with this war in Ukraine and Russia, showing us just how, for lack of a better term, globally the supply chain is broken. It's a broken component. But America was essentially built on the foundation for the longest time that we were the powerhouse. And then about 20 years ago, people started saying, "Hey, consultants." I mean, they were trying to give good counsel, and they said, "Y'all need to start shipping stuff out of America and move the jobs and get everything out of here because it costs less to overseas." And then now I think we're realizing that was a mistake. I think we're tripling, and so we're seeing it happen, and it bleeds down into our people, into the constituents and the people that are served in this region and across the nation. So talk to me a little bit about infrastructure. I know that's an important part of your platform, and we know we need that here in the Houston region, specifically related to, we're doing a ship widening project right now to open up the port. Talk to me about your knowledge about what's happening, and then also what things Congress should be focused on to help us with infrastructure.
Well, this is the one thing that I think, no matter if you're a Democrat or a Republican, if you are a red-blooded Houstonian and you represent this area, there's basically 5 congressmen and women that are going to be represented by Houston in basically the greater Houston area. And you know what? We can agree on this, that infrastructure is important for all of us. It's a job creator. It boosts our economy. Again, we could be the hub for the entire world. And what I'm even seeing with Houston is kind of becoming, Harris County itself is one of the fastest growing counties in the entire country. And so I see us actually competing with New York in terms of being like an energy hub, a transportation hub, a shipping hub. We can literally be that focal point for the entire world. So any kind of funding that we can get, that we could put toward projects like this, that expand our ship channel, that allows us to have more growth, that allows us to have more activity right here in the greater Houston area, I'm certainly in favor of. And if I'm not mistaken, I think even Congresswoman Lizzie Fletcher just got some money down here for that. I think Dan Crenshaw was able to do it as well. This is a nonpartisan issue. This is about business growth, and I'm all in for anything like that.
Fantastic. And I know business growth is critical for you. And it's been a big part of what you've been championing as you've gone out there and continue to say that. And being a businessman here in the area, I think you understand the importance of it. And
yes, I do.
Of it. So now let's talk a little bit about, the energy corridor specific. I know you were talking about, we've got to continue to focus on policy that's important and relevant to the energy industry. You're in the energy corridor. It really is your hub. I'm curious on how you think you can create a unified approach to spreading the word, because up until this point, it's kind of, it's almost as if it's a us against them mentality, and frankly, I don't think we're going to get a lot of progress if it continues to be that way. And so, how do you go in there and create a kind of a unified approach for your region and for this area in Congress to really kind of champion the positive message that oil and gas does have here in this area?
Excellent question. So Houston is known as kind of the energy capital of the world. And with redistricting, what we've done, we've consolidated the entire energy corridor in what will be my district, Congressional District 38. So again, if this is the energy capital of the world, the entire energy corridor is in my district. Ergo, that kind of makes me the energy congressman of the world. I like to say that. It has the added benefit of being actually relatively true, given the fact that just about every single major energy company in the world has some kind of footprint in Houston and in this district. And then for those companies that actually office maybe downtown, like let's say Enterprise Products, many of their executives actually live in my district. So either you live in the district and you're related to energy, or you work and live in the district. So because we've been able to consolidate that, I think that gives us a very unique position to lead on this issue. And that's why I'm leaning in on this issue. And I don't want to be a one-trick pony, okay? I want to be able to do a lot of things and walk and chew gum as a congressman. It's not just energy, but I'm here to tell you that this is my number one top priority. And I think we have a unique position to really take this and lead from the front. Some of my surrounding congressmen are Dan Crenshaw, Troy Nels, me, Morgan Luttrell, and what do we all have in common? We're all combat veterans. Nice. We're all service guys, okay? We understand how to take the fight to the enemy, but we also understand what it means to be American and what it means to preserve our values and what it means to literally fight for it. Our energy policy and our energy independence is something that we have got to fight for. So I'm really glad that there's a lot of real estate that's actually covered by people that have actually fought for this country, but also are willing to serve in Congress to defend our infrastructure, to defend our oil and gas industry, and to defend Houston.
Fantastic. Now, you mentioned all the relationships in all these organizations. How do you go about, you continuously grow. Every time I hear you and chat with you, I continuously hear more and more knowledge that comes from you. And I know it's a difficult task because you're trying to campaign, you're trying to grow, you're trying to get the word out. But how do you blend the balance between campaigning and then also listening and hearing, right? How do you get out to the streets and understand the needs of not only the oil and gas side, right, but also those that are championing the other side? How is it that a man like you can step into that role and hear what both sides have to say so that you can have a formidable argument, but be able to relate to where they're at and meet them where they're at with educated policy and discussion? Because I know it's a lot on your plate. I'd love to hear that.
Intellectual curiosity is something that's really important to me. And so one thing that my team has done after the primary is actually going around, visiting assets, visiting oil and gas companies, visiting energy companies, so I can build my acumen so that when I'm up on the Hill, I know exactly what I'm talking about. I want to be the subject matter expert on the Hill in this arena. So what have we done? We've been to Carlsbad, New Mexico. We've been to Hobbs, New Mexico. We've been to Midland twice. We've gone offshore with Arena Energy. We're going to the Marcellus Shale actually next week up in Pennsylvania. We're doing a carbon sequestration project in Wyoming. We're going to try to hit Alaska as well. And we're visiting all these companies so we can really talk about what we're doing. We want to put a face to the industry, and we also want to show that our industry is very diverse. It's very diverse. It actually does a lot of good. It's a noble cause, and it's good. And it's good for the country. And I'm sick of kind of the left, oftentimes the left, painting this picture as, you know, we're evil. We're not evil. Actually, we are the industry that can raise countries and other nations out of energy poverty. Like, we can do that. And you know what I've also discovered in this quest is that I have yet to hear a single executive in the energy space say this: I don't like renewables. I don't want renewables. I think renewable energy is stupid. I've never heard that. To the contrary, I've heard every single executive say, look, it's an all hands on deck approach. We like renewables, we want it, but you can't get to that next affordable, abundant source of energy without us. That's it. And so when you look at what Exxon is doing with the letter that they've sent to this administration and Chevron and Oxy, I love it. I love it, because finally we're telling the truth about what we're trying to do. And yes, we need to get better. We are going to get better. You know why? The market would dictate that. The market will ensure that we get better. But you know what else we have to do too? Make sure that we still have an energy sector in this country for the future. We're not going anywhere. Let's work together.
Fantastic. I love that statement. And I think there's some significant truth to that. One of our messages and one of the things that we've championed for such a long time here in this region is just how safe, just how renewably and sustainability focused this area is. If you were to come, and matter of fact, you mentioned Alaska, all these cool places you've checked out. I'm going to go ahead and coordinate with you after the show. We're going to get you down over here into the refineries.
Yes.
Figure out what we got to do to get you down here and listen to the work and the things that are happening here, because it's also a global issue, right? A lot of these organizations have to, they continue to produce work so that, for example, you know, they are out, you know, you might have a company in Norway or Sweden or Germany with a facility here. And when you think about that, it really requires global relational ability to communicate what policies are happening even over in those countries that are indirectly or directly impacting the policies that are happening here, because they have a footprint. And a lot of times so I think you hit the nail on the head. It takes a certain level of diplomacy, a lot of education. And I'm thankful that you're going out to hear the truth and then also come back and communicate the truth. So,
yes, that's the mission.
Well, you know what? I think for the most part, I think we've been able to hit a couple of critical things on that we had hoped to have and share with you today, and maybe share with our audience. As we get ready to wrap up, specifically, is there anything that really jumps out that you'd like to make sure you share with our audience before we get ready to close the show?
What I want to say is the cavalry is coming. I think a lot of people are concerned about where we're at in this country right now. We're looking at these skyrocketing energy prices. You're looking at a supply chain crisis. We have a porous border. We have a drug crisis. We have a hyperinflation crisis. The world is a complete disarray. This has happened over the course of the past year and a half. We watched this happen. And trust me, in November, there are dedicated patriots that believe in American values that are going to step back into the fray and fight to get our country back. That's what I want you to know. Fear not, the cavalry is coming. And it's people, it's veterans, it's diverse veterans, it's diverse women. It's a cohort that I am so proud to be a part of. And I'm telling you that we have to save our country, and we are going to step in and preach and do just that.
Fantastic. You know, and I'm glad you used the word diverse, and it's something that I heard you speak on as we get ready to wrap up. And I think you couldn't ask for a better opportunity across culturally to have a diverse representative like yourself out there. I think that's an important statement, to have that ability to go out there and do that. And you mentioned it. We've got some strong women of energy, strong women inside of our city and inside of our great state, along with yourself and men. And so that's something that I really am starting to see happen. And I think you really do champion that. You've got a diverse family, you got a diverse platform, and that's really important for our nation, because they need to see that. There you go. I would bring my dog, but he's not nearly as cute. So, but yeah, man, we're thankful to have you today. And again, we're going to be, we know that you're going to go out and do great work wherever you sit. I know recently you just had a chance to meet with the Association of Builders and Contractors out in Washington when they were out there. And I know that next year, this organization always heads off to Washington in April. We would hope to be able to go ahead and nudge a seat to come sit down and check out some of the work that you're doing, maybe even perhaps grab another show to kind of see, hey, what's happened since then and where are you at today, and what's happening in the state of energy. And so we'd love to talk to you when we get that chance as well.
Anytime, let me know. I'd be happy to do it.
Fantastic. Well, we appreciate you, Wesley, and we'll talk to you. And as far as our audience is concerned, as always, we would encourage you this. There is a great story to tell in the great state of Texas. There's a great story to tell in our city of Houston and across our port region. There's so much truth and facts that needs to be shared around the work that's being done from a sustainability, from a people perspective, from an infrastructure perspective, the things that have to take place to help support jobs and opportunities in our region. And this show and this organization, the Economic Alliance, is dedicated to supporting that. So we're going to continue to try to bring you great guests like Wesley and other local representatives to help support the message of what needs to be championed for our great state. Please forward this to a person that you know, whether it be through any channel that you have. And as always, you can tune in to us at our link, or reach out to me through LinkedIn, and tune in to us through YouTube, Spotify, any of the social platform networks. And again, our website, HoustonPortRegion.com, to stay tuned to the work that we're doing. Thank you for checking it out. We'll see you guys next week.